Chosen ones, God's plan gives you millions. Act now. This video is not just a message, it's a divine wake-up call. If you've been feeling like something is about to shift in your life, if there's a stirring inside you that whispers, "You were made for more," then this is not by accident. You were led here. God's plan for you has always included abundance, not scarcity, overflow, not lack. But the time has come to act. There is a divine blueprint encoded in your soul, and it's now unfolding in real time. Chosen one, the millions that have been kept from you are not denied, they are delayed, until your spirit is ready to carry the weight of blessing. And now, you are ready. You are here. The energy has shifted. Before we dive deep into the revelations that await you, we ask you to stay with us until the end of this video. Something powerful is happening in the spiritual realm, and it requires your full attention. Comment your warmest, most passionate wish below, and write 77 to align yourself with this powerful divine frequency. This is the moment wishes come true. The universe is being energized through your focus, your belief, your voice. With every intention you write, you are speaking life into what already belongs to you. Now let's move forward into the wealth, the breakthrough, and the divine inheritance designed just for you. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. God never designed you for mediocrity. The world tried to convince you otherwise, tried to tell you to settle, to accept less, to shrink to fit inside man-made boxes. But God's plan has always been bigger than those limitations. You are a vessel of divine purpose, and purpose requires provision. There are no accidents in your desire to elevate. That inner call you felt for years, the hunger for something greater. It's not ego, it's destiny. The millions tied to your name are not about material greed. They are about divine fulfillment. They are about kingdom work. They are about living in such a way that the abundance in your life overflows into the lives of others. You were not born to work endlessly for crumbs. You were not placed here to barely survive, to stress over bills, to trade your time for wages that barely honor your worth. The old systems are crumbling. Financial institutions, governments, traditional economies, they are all being shaken to expose a higher truth. Abundance is spiritual first. Money is energy. It flows where there is alignment. It flows where there is purpose. And the moment you decide, truly decide, that you will walk in God's full plan for your life, you shift that energy permanently. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop begging and start commanding. And you do it not from arrogance, but from alignment. Chosen one, you must understand. Your wealth is already written. You are not waiting for approval. You are not waiting for the world to agree. You are not waiting for permission to prosper. God's plan gives you millions because those millions are tied to a mission. When you rise, the frequency around you rises. The people you love get blessed through your overflow. The ideas in your heart finally get funded. The community you've dreamed of building finally gets born. But nothing happens unless you act now. There is urgency in the divine. Not panic, not pressure, but purpose-driven urgency. Because the time for delay is over. You may have been told to wait, to be patient, to just pray and hope for the best. And while prayer opens the spiritual dimension, it is your action that moves the hand of heaven in the material. When God gives you a vision, a dream, an idea, it is not random, it is an assignment, and every assignment comes with provision. But the provision comes after the step of faith. God never dropped millions in the lap of those who sat and doubted. He releases it to those who move forward boldly, even when the path isn't fully visible. This is your season to act boldly, to show heaven you are serious, to take that idea off the shelf, to register that business, to build that brand, to apply for that funding, to make the phone call, to shift the energy through action. You don't need to know how it will all happen. You only need to know that it will. The how is God's job. The yes is yours. The moment you say yes, mountains move. Resources realign. People show up. Opportunities emerge. But if you hesitate, if you wait for the perfect moment, the perfect sign, the perfect approval, you will delay what has already been destined. This is why so many gifted, powerful souls live in poverty. Not because God withheld from them, but because they never activated what was already theirs. The millions are not far off. They are already within reach. They are hidden in the action you have yet to take. Look around you. The world is changing faster than ever. The old systems are failing. And in the middle of the collapse, God is raising up new financial leaders, people who are guided by divine principles, not greed. People who understand that wealth is not the goal, but the tool to fulfill a divine assignment. You are one of them. That's why you've been through so much. That's why your pain has been so deep, your trials so intense. Because what you're being prepared for is not ordinary. You are not being called to just earn. You are being called to steward, to multiply, to distribute, to become a divine portal for divine wealth to flow into the earth. And here's a truth many never hear. If God gives you a calling that includes millions, it's because He knows you can handle it. He trusts you with it. He knows you won't be corrupted by it. That's why He allowed you to taste lack first, so you would never worship money, so you would never idolize wealth, so that when it comes, and it will come, you will remember the source, and you will use what you have been given to light up the world, not just your own life. But you must act. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now, because the window of grace you're standing in is open, but not forever. Millions are attracted to mission. They are drawn to momentum. They come to those who are not waiting to be ready, but who trust that readiness is found in the journey. If you wait until you feel qualified, you'll never begin. But if you begin, you'll find the qualification along the way. You'll grow into it. You'll evolve. You'll expand. And every step you take toward your divine assignment will echo through dimensions, pulling the blessings into your reality faster than logic can explain. This is not about man-made strategies. This is not about hustle culture. This is about supernatural acceleration. The kind that happens when divine purpose meets bold obedience. You've always felt different. That wasn't a mistake. You've always known you were meant for more. That wasn't pride, it was prophecy. God encoded you with a vision that others couldn't see. Not because you were better, but because you were chosen. And chosen ones are given divine assignments. And divine assignments come with divine wealth. This isn't about chasing money. It's about chasing purpose and watching money chase you. It's about standing so deeply in your truth, your power, your calling, that the gates of heaven swing wide open and pour into your life more than you could have ever imagined. And don't you dare believe the lie that it's too late, that you missed your chance, that you waited too long. The moment you align is the moment it begins. It can happen in a year what didn't happen in the last 10. Divine acceleration doesn't need time, it needs alignment. The millions tied to your name are not held up by circumstance. They are waiting for your decision. Are you ready to stop playing small? Are you ready to stop shrinking, doubting, second-guessing yourself? Because the world needs what you carry, and it's time for your light to shine on a bigger stage. It's time for your voice to echo into greater rooms. It's time for your work to touch more lives. But that only happens when you say yes, when you act. Everything you've gone through wasn't random. It was the proving ground. The delay, the rejection, the silence, it was all working for your preparation. If the millions had arrived too early, they might have crushed you. You would have misused them, misunderstood them, or let others drain you through manipulation. But not now. Now you know better. Now your spiritual eyes are open. You see clearly. You discern energy. You feel intentions. And you don't let people play with your destiny anymore. This new version of you, refined by fire, sharpened by pain, elevated by wisdom, is the one God is ready to bless. Because now you are ready to carry the weight of wealth with humility, strength, and clarity. Do not underestimate how fast things can change once you're aligned. The millions are not years away. They are dimensions away. You don't need to wait for the world to approve it, because God already authored it. You don't need 1 million followers. You don't need everyone to understand you. You only need the right energy, the right decisions, and the right boldness to walk through the door He just opened. It is not your job to know every step. It is your job to take the first one. Divine wealth is not handed to the hesitant. It's entrusted to those who say, "Even if I don't see the full picture, I will walk." You've been sitting on gold. The idea in your heart is not small. The vision that wakes you up at night is not random. The dream that won't die is not just imagination. It's a divine instruction. And until you act on it, the millions tied to it stay in the spiritual realm, untouched, unclaimed, waiting. Not because God is withholding, but because He respects free will. God gave you the key, but He won't turn the lock for you. That's your part. And the moment you move, doors will open. What seemed hard will suddenly become possible. What once felt blocked will flow. The enemy has tried to distract you with fear, with doubt, with people who couldn't see what you see and told you to be realistic, with jobs that pay just enough to keep you from chasing purpose, with circumstances that seem to say, "This is all there is," but it's all been a lie, a smokescreen. You are not average. You are not stuck. You are not forgotten. You are being invited into a higher realm of power, where purpose and prosperity meet. And when those two align, nothing can stop what's coming to you. Not lack, not people, not timelines, not even your past. Chosen one, do you understand how sacred it is to be trusted with abundance? God doesn't give millions to the selfish. He gives it to the surrendered, to the ones who have passed the tests in silence, to the ones who kept their heart clean even while broke, to the ones who helped others even when they were struggling, to the ones who gave their last just because it felt right. That's who you are. That's why this word is for you. The system tried to crush you, but heaven has crowned you. You're stepping into divine royalty now, and with that crown comes access. Access to the wealth that was always yours. You must understand this clearly. Abundance is your inheritance, not a reward. You don't earn it through perfection. You activate it through obedience. You don't manifest it through hustle. You attract it through alignment. You don't have to fight for it. You rise to meet it. When you stop trying to survive and start walking in vision, everything begins to shift. Provision comes not because you need it, but because you're walking in a plan that requires it. The more impact you are called to create, the more wealth heaven must release to support it. That's how divine economics works. You will no longer downplay your worth. You will no longer apologize for your calling. You will no longer shrink to make others feel comfortable. You are not sent here to blend in. You are sent to disrupt, to rebuild, to realign what has been broken. And yes, it will take resources. Yes, it will take capital. Yes, it will take financial firepower. That's why the millions are coming. Not for vanity, but for victory. The victory of your purpose over your past. The victory of truth over fear. The victory of expansion over stagnation. That victory has a price, and heaven is ready to pay it through you. But don't just dream, decide. Don't just wish, move. Don't just pray, build. Action is the highest form of faith. And the moment you act, you prove to heaven that you are ready. Ready to hold it. Ready to handle it. Ready to multiply it. God doesn't just bless individuals, He blesses blueprints. The plan in your spirit is the seed, and your movement waters that seed. Your courage fertilizes it. Your decisions give it roots. And before you know it, the harvest comes. The clients arrive, the investors call, the resources flood in, the doors swing open, the acceleration begins. This is not hype. This is not fantasy. This is spiritual law, and it cannot be broken. What you align with, you attract. What you believe, you receive. What you activate, you experience. You've watched others walk into their wealth and wondered, why not me? The answer is, it was always meant to be you, but not the version of you that hides, that doubts, that hesitates. The real you, the bold one, the radiant one, the unapologetic one, the chosen one, the one who knows that money is not the enemy, but the energy to execute destiny. You must let go of the fear of being seen. Let go of the fear of being misunderstood. Let go of the guilt around wanting more. You wanting more doesn't mean you're greedy. It means you're finally ready. You finally believe in the power of your vision. You finally understand that you were not called to be a spectator in the blessing of others, but a participant in the divine overflow. You were not born to clap for everyone else. You were born to shine with them. You were not born to beg. You were born to command, not through arrogance, but through sacred authority. Chosen one, if you only knew what is being aligned right now, if you could see the spiritual forces rearranging behind the scenes to bring you what you need, you wouldn't hesitate another moment. You wouldn't question your worth. You wouldn't wait for someone to save you, because the moment you act, everything else will respond. The spiritual realm responds to bold movement. Every dollar, every connection, every opportunity, it's already tied to your obedience. Not your perfection, not your struggle, not your waiting, your obedience. That's the key. And here's a truth many never hear. Faith is not waiting, it's walking. Faith is not someday. Faith is today. The wealth you're asking for already exists. The only question is, will you meet it? Will you become the version of you who can hold it? Will you stop circling the same mountain of fear and finally climb it? Because on the other side is not just money, it's mission, it's freedom, it's fulfillment, it's flow, it's purpose wrapped in provision. And it's waiting for you, not next year, not someday, now. There is a divine reason why the thought of wealth keeps knocking on the door of your spirit. It's not greed, it's a signal that your next season will require more reach, more tools, more influence, more generosity, and above all, more obedience. What God is about to trust you with isn't just for comfort, it's for kingdom impact. The millions coming your way are not an end, they are a means to build, to liberate, to elevate, a means to finally do what you've always dreamed, not just for yourself, but for others who are waiting for someone like you to rise. Don't forget, you're not just called, you're chosen. That means your story is not common. That means your wealth will not come the usual way. That means your path will be marked by divine detours and unexpected turns, not to frustrate you, but to form you. You've already noticed it, how the traditional routes never seemed to work for you, how systems rejected you, how the doors they walked through never opened for you. That's because God didn't call you to fit in. He called you to create new paths, paths that require a higher kind of trust, and the wealth that follows those paths. It's sacred, it's spiritual, it's strategic. The world will tell you to chase money, but heaven is showing you something higher, how to attract it through purpose. And not just attract it, but manage it through wisdom. This next wave of wealth isn't coming just because you asked. It's coming because you're aligned with what heaven needs done in this generation. You're a carrier of answers, a deliverer of solutions. You're not chasing opportunity anymore. You are the opportunity. That's why the favor that's about to fall on you will feel unnatural. Not because it's unearned, but because it's overdue. You've already paid the price in silence. Now it's time to collect the promise in power. Chosen one, this is the moment where vision becomes tangible. You're not here to live in lack. You're here to reverse it. You're here to restore what was broken in your bloodline. The patterns that kept your ancestors stuck end with you. The scarcity, the survival mode, the fear of more, none of that belongs in your future. You are the interruption, the generational curse breaker, the financial reformer. And with that role comes divine funding. Not from banks, not from men, but from the throne itself. You were always meant to operate with overflow. Let this sink into your bones. There are people, places, and entire futures waiting on the wealth God is about to place in your hands. Not because you're better, but because you're available. You said yes to the uncomfortable road. You stayed faithful when nobody clapped. You kept showing up even when it felt like nothing was changing. That is why heaven is preparing a release that your old life can't contain. The world will be confused, but the Spirit knows. This was always the plan. Delayed? Yes. Denied? Never. There's a shift in the atmosphere when a chosen one says, "I'm ready." And not just with words, but with action. That moment of readiness sends a ripple into the unseen realms. Angels begin to move. Resources begin to gather. People begin to appear. Not because you forced it, but because you finally aligned. God will never let your faith be wasted. When you step out, even when your knees shake, you give permission for the miraculous to manifest. And in that obedience, the millions that once felt far will arrive faster than logic can explain. You're not just going to receive, you're going to steward. The blessings coming your way won't own you, they'll flow through you. You will become a vessel of provision, a river of overflow, a source of stability for others. And that is why you must heal your relationship with wealth. It's not dirty, it's not evil, it's not something to fear. In the hands of a chosen one, it becomes holy. It becomes a tool for transformation, a mirror of your inner growth, a response to your alignment. And when you hold it with honor, it multiplies with ease. So ask yourself, what do you need to let go of to receive it? Is it small thinking? Is it guilt? Is it procrastination? Is it an environment that limits your vision? Because you cannot walk into $1 million calling with a fearful mindset. You cannot build the future God has for you using the language of limitation. You must begin to speak as one who's already walking in it. Move like you believe it's real. Plan like it's already yours. Act like heaven is backing every step, because it is. And when the resistance comes, don't be surprised. Wealth attracts attention, but don't confuse attention with attack. Not everyone who watches you rise is against you. Some are simply amazed, others are inspired, and yes, a few will try to copy without paying the price. But they can never carry what you carry, because your millions aren't just money, they're coded with mission. They are spiritual, seeded in prayer, protected by favor, and destined for impact. No counterfeit can compete with that. There will come a moment, sooner than you think, when you'll look around and realize it happened. The accounts are full. The business is flowing. The team is aligned. The doors are open. And you'll feel the rush of gratitude, not because it was easy, but because you didn't quit. And in that moment, you'll understand why the journey was so long. You'll realize why the battles were so intense. Because what you were birthing wasn't just income, it was influence. Not just security, it was legacy. This is why the timing matters. God's plan is perfect not just in purpose, but in preparation. He didn't just prepare the blessing, He prepared you. You can be trusted now. You can be released now. You've been forged in the fire, and you didn't lose your soul in the process. You grew deeper, stronger, wiser. You are the one who will carry this next move with purity. And because of that, heaven has given the green light. But here's the warning. When it comes, don't shrink. Don't apologize. Don't water it down. Don't wait for others to catch up. You're being elevated for a reason. Others need to see what it looks like when divine wealth lands on someone who's ready, when abundance meets humility, when favor finds integrity, when wealth obeys purpose. Be the example, be the blueprint, be the one who shows that you can have both heaven and harvest, because you followed the assignment, not the applause. There is still more to say. There is still deeper revelation to unpack. But for now, let this truth burn bright. The millions are not a maybe. They are a matter of movement. They're waiting on you. Waiting on your yes. Waiting on your first step. Waiting on your obedience. Everything you need is already aligned. Now act. There is something sacred about divine timing. It doesn't bend to pressure. It doesn't respond to panic. It waits for alignment. And now, chosen one, the hour has struck. The alarm of your assignment is ringing through the spirit realm, and heaven is no longer asking, it's activating. The plan that's been stored up for you is now being unsealed, and with it comes not just opportunity, but abundance beyond comprehension. The kind of abundance that rewrites your story. The kind of abundance that doesn't trickle in, it floods. But understand this, God never delivers millions into hands that haven't been emptied of fear. You've been through the breaking season because He was pruning you for power. You've walked through lack so that you would never idolize money, but master it. You've been hidden so that when you are revealed, you won't be shaken by the weight of influence. This next level of financial overflow isn't a reward for surviving. It's a release into your original design. You weren't born to survive off crumbs. You weren't created to beg for breakthrough. You were designed to command wealth through alignment with divine law. And now that your heart is tuned, your motives are purified, and your faith is fully awakened, God is authorizing your access. Every delay you suffered was divine calibration. Every detour was character formation. And now, the door is not only open, it is calling your name. Chosen one, it's not about whether the plan exists. It's about whether you will step into it. Will you move even when there's no applause yet? Will you obey even when logic tells you to wait? Because this next move will not be confirmed by comfort. It will be confirmed by conviction. And those who move with conviction will unlock wealth that can't be measured by human metrics. This is not earthly currency alone. This is kingdom wealth, coded with divine assignment and secured by eternal strategy. What you're carrying is not just a vision, it's a vault. Inside, you are blueprints for businesses, solutions for broken systems, strategies that will fund families, cities, even nations. But you must activate it. You must believe that your obedience is the key. You must recognize that wealth doesn't start in the hand, it starts in the spirit. That means your first step is not about money, it's about movement. And the second you move, the universe reorganizes. Resources begin to shift. Invisible hands clear the path, and God makes a way where there was none before. You've been asking for a sign. This is it. Not the voice of comfort, but the voice of confirmation. That sense in your chest that this is more than just inspiration, it's instruction. Don't delay. Don't wait for everyone to understand. Don't expect permission from people who were never assigned to your path. You were chosen for a specific window of time, and that window is now open. The wind of favor is blowing, but it will only carry those who move with it. The mistake many make is confusing preparation with perfection. You've waited so long to feel ready that you've missed doors disguised as opportunities. But you don't need to be perfect. You need to be positioned. That means saying yes before the whole picture is clear. That means starting with what you have. That means building with what's in your hand and trusting God to supply the rest. Because when heaven funds something, it does so in stages. Faith unlocks the first flow, obedience unlocks the next, and consistency opens the floodgates. God's plan for your wealth is not passive. It's not vague. It's not theoretical. It is intentional, specific, precise. And it requires a radical kind of courage, the kind that doesn't wait for support, the kind that doesn't flinch when others doubt, the kind that trusts the inner voice more than outer circumstances. You will know you are aligned when things begin to move that you didn't push, when doors open that you didn't knock on, when people show up with answers to prayers you haven't even spoken aloud. There is no coincidence in the wealth you are about to encounter. It's the direct result of seeds you've planted in silence, prayers cried in private, acts of faith that went unnoticed by the world but honored by heaven. God was always watching, not your performance, but your posture. And your posture has now positioned you for supernatural outpouring. There's no striving in this season, only surrender. There's no begging, only believing. No proving, only producing. You are about to operate at a level where your life becomes a sign that divine wealth is real, a sign that purpose can be profitable, a sign that obedience creates overflow. And when people ask, how did this happen? You'll know the answer. It wasn't luck, it wasn't networking, it was the plan, God's plan, written before time, guarded by angels, released through obedience. You didn't earn it, you aligned with it. And because of that, the millions are not a surprise, they're a sign. Chosen one, the burden you've carried for so long is about to turn into a blessing that blesses others. The tears that soaked your pillow are about to become testimonies that fund change. What was once your breaking point will soon become your building block. God never wastes pain. He multiplies it into power. And the wealth that's coming won't just change your life. It will transform your world. Schools will be built. Families will be fed. Visions will be funded. all because you said yes. But the plan is not passive. It's alive, and it responds to motion. That means you can't just believe. You must build. Build the business. Launch the idea. Speak the vision. Move your feet. Because faith without action is fantasy, and your reality is waiting on you to act like you've already received what you prayed for. Walk like you're wealthy. Speak like you're funded. Plan like the contract is already signed. Because in the spirit, it is. This isn't hype. This is heaven. This isn't wishful thinking. It's strategic alignment. And when you align, what was once delayed is delivered. What was once held back is handed over. And what once looked impossible becomes inevitable. Chosen one. By now, you've started to feel it in your bones. This is not just a season of receiving, it is a season of becoming. Because God's plan doesn't just hand over millions to any version of you. It waits until you become the version that can carry it without being crushed by it. You are not being rewarded, you are being entrusted. And what is coming will not only change your life, it will demand a new level of stewardship that requires full alignment with heaven's instructions. Before divine wealth comes into physical form, it moves through spiritual preparation. You're not just being positioned for increase, you're being refined for dominion. God is building in you the ability to lead when others follow the crowd, the character to stay grounded when others get lost in gain, and the wisdom to know that this abundance is not about you, but about what moves through you. Money is never the goal, it is the tool. And tools don't define the builder, they serve the blueprint. Millions in your hands are meaningless if your heart is still bound to fear, ego, or comparison. That's why you've been in the fire. That's why you've been misunderstood. That's why you've been stripped down to nothing, so God could rebuild you from the inside out. Not as a victim, but as a vessel. Not as a seeker, but as a sender. You are being forged into someone who doesn't just survive in abundance. You command it with clarity and holy restraint. It's time to break the old mindset that says, wealth corrupts. No, unchecked ego corrupts. Unhealed wounds corrupt. But in the hands of the healed, wealth heals. In the hands of the called, wealth builds. In the hands of the chosen, wealth awakens purpose. You were not called to hide from riches. You were called to redeem them, to take back what was stolen by systems of greed and fear, and to distribute it through divine wisdom and grace. That's why the preparation has been so intense. You haven't just been building a dream, you've been becoming the infrastructure for a divine economy. God doesn't drop millions on shaky foundations. He sends them to hearts that don't flinch when the spotlight hits, to minds that won't self-sabotage when the zeros show up, to spirits that have been disciplined in secret so they won't detour in public. This plan is surgical, specific, designed not just to elevate you, but to set precedent. When others see your rise, they will know it wasn't luck, it wasn't games, it wasn't manipulation, it was alignment with God's blueprint. It was obedience when it cost you everything. It was vision when no one else could see it. That's why your rise will be unexplainable, because people won't understand how someone who started with so little now carries so much. But you will know. You've paid the price. You've walked the lonely path. And you've been trained in the silence. Now the question is not, are you ready to receive, but are you ready to rule? Not rule like the world does, through ego and dominance, but rule like heaven commands, through service, wisdom, and unwavering purpose. Millions are coming, but they are tied to movements, ideas, structures, solutions. And that means You must stay laser-focused on the mission, even after the manifestation shows up. Because here's the hidden truth. Wealth will test you more than lack ever did. Lack reveals what you'll fight for, but wealth reveals what you'll live for. And if you don't know who you are before the overflow comes, it will try to tell you who to become. That's why your identity must be sealed in divine truth, not in performance, not in possessions, not in public praise. You are not being called to chase the millions. You are being called to embody the vision that draws them in. When you walk in clarity, doors open. When you lead with purpose, provision flows. When you speak with authority, heaven backs every word. This is no longer about praying for breakthrough. It's about walking as if it's already been done. Chosen one, look around you. Do you see the signs? The sudden connections, the dreams becoming more vivid, the nudges to take bolder steps. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. The energy of divine release is already swirling around your life. The questions you use to ask, how will I do it? Where will the money come from? No longer matter. You're past the planning stage. You're in the birthing stage now. And birth is messy. It's painful, but it always ends in life. Don't be shocked when things fall apart before they come together. God is removing what can't go with you. Some connections were seasonal. Some plans were too small. Some habits were holding you back. So when you feel things shifting violently, remember, it's not destruction, it's divine demolition. God tears down the old to make room for the overflow. The wealth that's coming carries weight. You'll need new routines, new relationships, new levels of accountability. This is not about consuming, it's about commanding. You are being called to create systems that outlive you, to fund movements that echo through generations, to build legacies that shout God was here. This next version of you won't need to explain itself. You won't need to prove your worth. The fruit will speak. The impact will validate. The results will silence every voice of doubt, even your own. So walk boldly, build wildly, believe fiercely, because the time for preparing is over. The time for producing has come. And when the millions come, don't shrink, don't hide, don't apologize for the blessing. Wear it with honor, steward it with fearlessness, move with divine authority, because this is what you were born for. And finally, heaven is shouting back, now is the time. You are the one. The wealth is real. The plan is in motion. And the world is waiting.